So delighted to have Dr. Saeed Ashrafinia, great colleague and friend, former member of our lab at when we were at Johns Hopkins University, and he is presently clinical and R&D collaboration manager at Siemens Healthineers. He's accepted our invitation to share his thoughts, and he has a lot of interesting thoughts, I know, on life beyond the lab. So uh, Saeed, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Arman. And thank you all very much for this invitation. The talk today is going to be about beyond the lab. And you can see from this AI-generated photo, I didn't want this to come up, but I was pretty amazed and kind of like shows what I'm going to talk about today. So today's presentation basically is going to provide insights into the opportunities available for nuclear medicine lab members after their graduations, whether you're completing your master, your PhD, or postdoc. What we're going to do is that we're going to explore various career paths and essential skill sets to require to secure position in those fields, and what are going to be the relevant skills that needs to be developed, so you'll be able to confidently choose those career paths that best suits your goals. All right, let's move on. Okay, so what are some pathways that are available to graduates, masters, PhDs, postdocs? One of them is, of course, it's going to be academia. Great example, right? We have right here, we have Arman as a very successful person who decided to pursue his career in academia, continue that. Another path to choose is going to be, sorry, I'm losing my mouse here. All right, in clinic, you can choose to join a clinic, become a medical physicist, and have a more direct interactions with patients and patient care. It can be a career in industry, like where I am right now at Siemens Healthineers. We can work with a small or large corporation, manufacturer, you name it, different settings. It can be a startup, like our old colleagues, Feresh and Reza from back at Johns Hopkins, that they started their startup called Pediametrics, and they have expanded it. So very successful in their startup effort. It can be, okay, what else? It can be government. We have an example here. Dr. Farahani used to be our collaborator back at Hopkins days. He was a member at the NIH. He was actually with the NIH back then. But it can be a little bit more. We can have some outlier options as well, including but not limited to art and music. Some of you guys might have heard about this music band called the Thallium Stallions. So there are a bunch of scientists and medical physicists, experts in the field, as they're part of their hobby, they just get together and they have this music and performances that they do. It can be politics. Okay, so some of you may know that recently there has been presidential candidate debate in one of the Middle Eastern countries, and one of the candidates who were in that he was running for presidency used to be a nuclear medicine graduate student. So he dropped out, but anyways, that's one of the ways that you can think of going on. And last but not least, you can think of becoming a YouTube influencer or whatnot, just like Luke, of course, that we have it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm not going to talk about all of these different options here. I'm going to limit my talk to the first three: academia, clinic, industry. And with that, let's talk a little bit about my own journey. So I was actually in Vancouver for my master's, which I did at SFU in electrical engineering. And after that, I joined Arman's lab at Johns Hopkins, did my PhD. Following my PhD, towards the end of it, with the network that I had gathered of different faculty members inside academia, outside of academia, I was thinking of what would be my next path, what would be the next phase in my career. And I had options available in academia, postdoc positions, faculty positions, even direct faculty positions. I was considering going for the clinic, as I explained earlier, as well as industry. And I extensively talked with many different individuals across our field to see what would be the best choice that I can basically make for myself. And what I'm going to talk to you about is the result of all those research and discussions and those insights, as well as my own experience in the past couple of years in the industry and in my role as a collaboration manager, which I'm in a very direct and close relation with many individuals in academia, in clinic, and in industry right now for the past couple of years. I'm going to start with what do we know and what are these paths? I'm going to go on with why should we choose a certain path? And then I'm going to end with how, which means that what are the skill sets that I need to land in a certain position. Let's start with what. I found 11 different aspects to talk about each of those three pathways: academia, clinic, industry. I'm going to go through each of them. I'm going to explain each of these. I'm going to explain those different fields, those different pathways under these different aspects. And I hope, and I know that this is going to be the information that's going to help for better decision making. So let's start with academia. All right. So what's the scope in academia? Of course, the main thing and the first thing that comes to mind is research, right? So it can be scientific research, clinical research. A good amount of the time that you have is going to be spending on grants and grant writing. Sometimes you may have to sacrifice time from your research, from your teaching, from your mentorship, and from your work-life balance to actually spend on writing grants. Teaching, of course, different courses, graduate level, undergrad level, so on and so forth. Publications, journal articles, conferences, mentoring students, and of course, getting involved in different committees. These committees can be within the university, can be within different societies. What's the environment of somebody who's working in academia? Of course, it's university. We don't have so many options here. And what are the required skills for somebody who's working in academia? Of course, he or she needs to have a very strong research skills and a strong passion to do research. This also includes analytical skills and problem-solving skills. And not only that, but a strong scientific communication skills is also needed. The reason I'm putting emphasis here on scientific is that we may hear strong communication skills so many times, but we may not know that it's different it's different when we are in academia and we're talking about communication skills, and we're compared to, for example, where we are in industry and we're talking about communication skills. I'm going to give you an example right here that, for example, in industry, if you come from academia, if you're a PhD of an engineering or physics or whatever, and you are fluent in English, you have very strong communication skill from back your time in academia, still, when you join industry, people will know that you are an engineer, you are a scientist, you are kind of a little bit different from industry. And each of these different spaces, they have their own language, they have their own communication skills and all that. So if you want to excel in academia, you have to master its own communication skill. You have to master scientific communication skill. That's the same if you want to join industry and if you want to be involved in clinic. Next Grant writing, as I said, one of the main tasks of a faculty member, specifically junior faculties, are going to be involved in grant writing, teaching skills, mentoring students, networking with individuals, with colleagues inside the university, networking with people that are outside of the university, even outside of your field, even from non-academia like industry. And of course, leadership skills if you want to look up to, for example, taking an administrative role or becoming a chair or director or something in your university or in societies. All right, let's talk about the typical career progression in academia. This is everything that all of us know about, pretty much, starting from being a postdoc, then become an assistant professor, associate prof, and full prof. Of course, there's this thing here in the middle that it's where you're a tenure track or tenured, and until a faculty member becomes a tenured member, it will be a lot of pressure and a lot of sleepless nights and pressure to the faculty, pressure to faculty's students and all that to make sure that he gets the tenure position. Other than that, as I said, they can take admin roles and they can be involved in societies. So let's talk about job security and salary. In academia, once you get tenure, your job security, your job is pretty secure after that. Before that, yeah, you have to try a lot, you have to spend many hours, and it's of course very competitive to get into, specifically if you want to if you are considering a top university or a university that is located in a good city, a good place to live. It's very competitive. This plot shows that this was supposed to have an animation, which I should have be able to bring one of them at a time, and the plot for some reason looks a little bit messed up. I apologize for that, but I tried to deliver the message here. So the rainbow curve here, this shows the stress level at each of these different stages of career progression. Relatively, of course, this is all relative, right? So when you're a postdoc, when you're in tenure track, you still have a lot of stress because you don't know whether you're going to secure a tenure position. You don't know where you're going to basically land, which city you may have to move and all that. But once that happens, life becomes a little bit easier, but still you have grant deadlines, you have you have to meet that, you have to make sure you have everything in place. But as you get more and more senior, you get your tenureship, you become a full prof. It's actually pretty secure and very low stress job. At the same time, if you want to take a look at the salaries, we see that okay, we're doing not bad. These numbers are median numbers I get for salary compensations in academia. I got them from multiple sources, including Glassdoor, and these are the median reported salaries for engineering professors. So I only looked at biomedical engineering. If you want to, a different field, feel free to look up. But yeah, you're not going to get very well compensated unless if A, you stay there for a long time, B, you join a very reputed university, which again means there's going to be more competition. All right, the other aspect we want to talk about is networking and professional development. While you're in academia, of course, you have the opportunity to network and communicate with your colleagues at university, your university, other universities that you have relationship with. Of course, you have the great advantage of, you may have the great advantage of having a senior faculty mentoring you, helping you with your career, with your grant writing, with different things that comes at your path. that come at your path. And then academic conferences, as you know, one of the main networking events. People learn more, people network more. Research collaborations that can be done with within academia, so within different institutions, or with academia and between academia and industry, which is a great opportunity. In that case, you can be somehow involved in getting a product out to the world while you're at the university. This opportunity doesn't come easily to so many individuals, so many faculties, right? And of course, getting involved in professional societies. Sometimes they have events, sometimes they have professional development, courses and so on. If we want to talk about personal fulfillment, what is academia? Who academia is best for? It's going to be best for somebody who has lots of passion for research, clinical research, scientific research, right? Lots of passion for teaching, passion for mentoring, right? Developing the next gen or educating the next generation of bright minds of the field of the world. One of the key personal fulfillment aspects is intellectual freedom. Perhaps this is going to be one of the most important ones. People who want to stay in academia, they have this one in mind. They believe that with staying in academia, they can just focus on what they want and just work on that, and nobody's going to tell them you should take another topic or whatever. It's going to be a great opportunity because you're working on cutting edge science, right? You are the one who are defining the edge of the science, and you're actually pushing that, right? So it's great. And last but not least, recognition. This is something that perhaps is unique to academia. You're going to be recognized academically, sometimes around the world, press conferences, a press release, so on and so forth. At the same time, it has its own challenges. One of the major ones, securing funding. This is all those sleepless nights, those efforts for getting grants that I talked about. Grant submission deadlines, again, very bad for work-life balance. Not just work-life balance, but also balancing research and teaching. You must dedicate time for research, but at the same time, you have to prepare for courses that you instruct. So balancing this is a challenge. Tenure track pressure, as I said, you have to find a way to just get through it. And another topic is grants influence research topics that sometimes, especially if you're your junior years, it's not that intellectual freedom that I talked about. It's not there yet. You have to steer, or you have to kind of focus the topic of your research that you have in mind, that you're sending a grant for. It should be in a way that it's aligned with the specifics that grant agency is asking you to. So it's not that you can start thinking about any different topic that comes to your mind and believe that, okay, I'm going to go and submit a grant and I'm going to get funding for that. No, some of these agencies, they only fund research topics that are within a specific field. So that's the point. And of course, work politics. So lots of time, especially in academia, there is the situation is there is a contained space, and they're highly educated, highly smart people. Such an environment is very, very prone to lots of politics between those individuals. Sometimes it's being said that the politics within academia is even worse than industry. So brace yourself. And last but not least, we want to talk about impact. Okay, I know about all these rewards. I know about all these challenges. What are going to be the impact if I join academia? Of course, the first and foremost is going to be advancing knowledge. through publications, journal papers, conference presentations, press releases. Not just that, but I'm also educating future professionals. It's really great when you go to some of these conferences and they are acknowledging and giving rewards to these senior members of the society, and they go up there and they put a list of 40, 50, 60 or even more number of alumni that have been with them in the past couple of decades. And you see each of those, some of those names, they themselves these days are becoming a serious key opinion leader for themselves. So it's really rewarding. And you can also take place in influencing public policy by getting into societies and working on clinical guidelines and operational guidelines. You can get involved in those committees that they release these documents that set course for what's happening in clinics. All right, with that, we're going to move on from academia to clinic. Again, I'm going to go over the same sort of aspects that I talked about. Same here for clinic. What's the scope of work if you join clinic? You're going to be pretty much involved with equipment management and their maintenance. You will be defining workflows, protocols. You will be monitoring that those workflows are performed correctly. You will be the one responsible for regulatory compliance. Perhaps the most rewarding and the most important as scope is going to be patient care and education. Why? Because this is where, by being in clinic, this is where you have direct impact on patient care, on patient outcome, and you can help with educating patient to know about the type of treatment, the type of diagnostic exam that they're undergoing. In addition to that, quality assurance of, again, equipment, solutions. You can also get involved in clinical research, which is great. You're going to work closely alongside clinical faculty and med school faculty. You can still publish. You may be able to teach, and you can, even in some places, you can submit grants. So it's not like that you're completely separated from the research setup, from the research setting, from the academic setting. What's the environment for a clinic kind of career? So those guys are usually, you can find them in hospitals, in universities, outpatient clinics, enterprise medical facilities that they have many different branches. They want one person or a group of experts to basically oversee the operations and the workflow and the devices and everything. Private firms, consulting firms nowadays, and recently, like the past 10 years, there's been a lot of medical physicists who, instead of joining a particular university or hospital, they decide to join these consulting firms, and through that, they have the freedom of operation, and they can just get a call and just go to a specific site that calls them and then provide services for them. So a bit more flexibility. What are the required skills? Perhaps the most challenging one is you have to get board certification if you want to work in most of the US states, most of the states in the United States, or I guess the same for provinces in Canada. This includes American Board of Radiology, ABR, American Board of ABSNM, the board certification for the Society of Nuclear Medicine. And this requires, especially ABR, not ABSNM. ABR requires 2 years or 3 years of residency. This is in addition to master's or PhD or whatever you have, already got, and you have to pass a board exam. Clinic, of course, requires clinical knowledge, of course, requires clinical expertise. You need to have regulatory knowledge too. You are the one who's going to be responsible for like in the entire site or a hospital or the like, enterprise. Strong communication skills, communication in what sense? You need to be able to communicate with the clinical team and with patients. See, this is a different set of communication skill from what we were talking about previously. You need to have attention to details. You are the one needs to see what others cannot see or others miss. Problem solving, teamwork is a very diverse team that you're working. It has very smart people, physicians and all that, and all the way to regulatory people and some just regular staff at the hospital. Leadership, it comes times that you are overlooking a team of different individuals, and you may still get involved in research. A typical progression for somebody who wants to join clinic, they'll become a resident. This is after graduation, right? We are all talking about after graduating from master's, PhD, or even a postdoc if you want to go through this path. Become board certified physicist, become basically taking the exam, and then become a staff medical physicist. After a couple of years, become the chief physicist, and later, if you want, you can become a director, administrator, or business owner or whatever. So you can basically choose not to go beyond this point, or you can choose to go all the way to the end. And as I said, you can also get involved in consulting. You can get yourself involved into societies and guidelines as well. So, okay, let's talk about, again, job security and salary. Here's the thing. With clinic, your job is pretty secure compared to academia and compared to industry. Out of the three, or out of even many more that I had in the first slide, this is one of the most secure paths that you can take. However, getting admission to these programs, specifically if you're going to get into residency, is pretty competitive. And you can see from the stress level, if for someone to get into a residency program, it's a lot of stress. Then you're spending some time inside your program. Then you have to prepare for your board exam, so another round of stress. But after that, you're up to a pretty secure and stable life after that, unless later in the life you decide to get yourself into more trouble and become a director or manager or business owner or something that you're going to deal with more stress. And just look at the salary curve, right? These numbers are from the published. These are all, by the way, US dollars. This is the median salary. These are official numbers that the AAPM published. These are their latest survey for 2022. If any of you guys are a member of AAPM, I highly encourage you to go to their site and pull this salary survey for medical physicists. You're going to see this number there. I put it, basically, this is based on the number of years of experience. So as soon as you get your board certification, you see it's just a huge jump to your salary, and you're up for a good ride, right? It's amazing. Okay, what about networking? Of course, a good chunk of your professional development will happen during the residency training. Once you're board certified, you're not done. You have to maintain your board certification. This means that every year there are a number of credits that you have to maintain. You all hear about those CE credits during conferences that you attend. This is what those CE credits are about. You have to attend conferences. You have to show that you attend conferences and you have obtained those CE credits to be able to maintain your license. Joining professional societies, of course, it's going to be a great help. Your clinical colleagues can help you, to network, to learn more. conferences, of course, and last but not least, again, research collaboration with academia and with industry. You can feel this fulfillment if you have passion to provide impact on patient care. I myself personally, this was very true for me. So back in the day, the reason I was seriously considering clinic was because of the fact that I really enjoyed getting direct interactions with patients and seeing that I can have positive impact on their life, on their situation, pain, whatever there is that they're suffering from. This is something that you cannot find in industry that easy, or it's very hard to find specifically in academia. This is perhaps the most important aspect of getting into clinic. If you have passion for medical and clinical knowledge, if you're looking into an interdisciplinary collaboration, so as a medical physicist, you're actually staying in a very interesting spot between engineers and physicists and physicists. I mean, not medical physics, like people who are like physics science, and clinicians and regulatory people and administrators and executives and all that. So very interdisciplinary collaborative environment. You have if you care about job security and stability, okay, this is the way. I mean, this is the best of them, really. If decent compensation is important for you, okay, and if you still want to be able to engage in clinical research and you still want to publish, joining clinic and becoming a medical physicist will make that happen. What are the challenges? Board certification, residency. It's hard, okay? Lots of reading, exams. I don't like it. Okay, who likes it? I don't know. Maybe some of you do. Maintaining board certification. It's a very high responsibility. You have direct interactions with patients. You are responsible for the hospital equipment, or even more for like for a city, or just like we have Arman here, for the entire province, right? If something goes wrong with a device, or like, well, I don't know, with an MRI exam, with a PET CT or whatever, you are the first person that they call, and you're the first person who needs to be there and provide a resolution or a solution. A big challenge for clinic and for medical physicists is routine work. So a lot of the work that they do becomes routine. It's not like academia, faculty, or in industry that you're being exposed to different new problems. You're exploring new fronts in research. No, you have a device every day, and you have an equipment or multiple equipment, and you have patients coming in. You have to make sure they work well, and you have to maintain all that in a good shape. So it's pretty routine. Might be boring to some, but it is what it is. And last but not least, because it's very interesting because of all the reasons that I said, it has a saturated job market. So it's pretty competitive. It's becoming very competitive. What are the impacts? As I said, first and foremost, direct impact on patient lives. You can help improve patient outcome. Look, like if you're a medical physicist, you can help that device or whatever equipment that your hospital or your clinic has, run to its perfection and provide better image quality, or whatever. So yeah, it's great. You can actually help advance clinical practice. And with that, you can also elevate the clinical work environment by making sure that the protocols and the workflows that are in place are properly and well maintained. You can also contribute to public health and public policy by getting involved in guideline societies and all that. And one other point that I just noticed that I missed here is that you can get involved in the purchases that your department or university or whatever setting that you're in the purchases that they make for that hospital. Let's say they want to buy a new set of, they want to buy, I don't know, 2 new PET CTs, okay? They will come to you as the expert to help them to make that purchase happen. So you will become an important person from time to time. All right. This was it for clinic. Let's move on to industry. All right. What do we do in industry? In industry, we work on providing, or we work on innovation for products and services, and we do research on the next generation of products and services. Each of these words that I'm putting an emphasis on are important. Products, services, and innovation and research. You can get involved in the development of products and services. You may ask, Saeed, what's the difference between research and development? Because most of the time we just hear R&D. We think both of them are together. They're not. Research is when you're trying to see something, it works or not. You have no idea whether this is going to be a feasible option. Product development, at least in industry, is that something should work. Now it's your job to make a product out of it, to go and productize it. This is product development. This is different from research, and perhaps more impactful, more important, more challenging. Product management, project management. You're going to also involved in testing and quality assurance of the products. If you're interested in, you can get into market analysis, you can get into strategy, and you can be involved in customer interactions, in KOL, key opinion leader interaction. You can get involved with the key opinion leaders in the field and come to Armand, for example, SNMMI every year or RSNA every year, say, hey, Armand, so what do you think are the most recent advancements in the field? Let us know. What do you think would be a good area for us to focus on? All these sorts of interactions and questions. What are the environment? Of course, corporations, manufacturing plants. Corporations can be big, can be small. You can be a contract. You can be an independent contractor that work with different, corporations and companies. A freelancer. You can have your own consulting firm, or you can join startups. Okay, what are the required skills to be in industry? So this list actually will go on and on and on. Perhaps the most comprehensive, or the longest list of required skill out of these 3, academia, clinic, and industry, would have been industry. I just put some of them in here. You need to have the knowledge of the commercial tools and commercial software. Before that, you need to have technical skills to be able to basically join industry, right? You definitely need to have analytical skills, especially if you want to get involved in research or product development. Problem solving, it's obvious. Project management, when a little bit later, when you become a senior in your role, now you're not just an individual contributor down the chain. Or some people call it food chain. You're somebody that you should manage a project. Technical and business communication skill. Now you know the difference. Teamwork. The people who you're working with in a company are not. The environment is different from university. It's different from clinic. People from diverse background and diverse level of educations are working in a company. You need to have adaptability, okay, because you're going to change roles. you need to be adaptive because you have a manager, and sometimes they're gonna basically give you something to work on. So you have to be adaptable to be able to receive new instructions. Business acumen, of course, you're working in a business environment, and if you want to look considering management and leadership positions, of course, leadership skills and people skills or soft skills. A typical career path. Okay, this was perhaps one of the most simplistic ways that I could have put this together. As you know, it can go all over the place. You can start as an individual contributor. You can stay an individual contributor throughout your whole life. There is no problem with that. There are so many very successful experts in industry who are and who have been individual contributors for decades, and they're the top-notch experts. You can decide to become a manager and manage those individual contributors, or manage a bunch of managers. You can become a director who basically sets course for a certain function of a company. It's beyond just managing individuals. Or you can go up and become a VP or somebody at the executive level, and now you're basically defining the strategy of the company. We should not forget that in industry, job hopping is common and it's actually encouraged. Okay, let's come back to our beautiful plot here. What about job security? So as we all know, out of these three, industry has the lowest job security and the highest risk. You can see it again. This is kind of like a rough kind of plot, but at the beginning of your role, wherever you are at, because you're just get introduced to that new environment, you have higher stress level until you get yourself comfortable on what you're doing, your responsibilities. Once you're switching to a new position, specifically to a higher position, it's going to be more stressful, and you might be at some risk. But at the same time, as you see, it has the fastest growing, or the highest in terms of compensation out of the three. It can go even higher than that. I didn't want to I just wanted to stop here not to discourage going to academia and clinic perhaps. All right, what about networking and professional development? You will have, well, the best thing is that by working in industry, in a company, you have an in-person, hands-on experience with devices, with the technology. You are the one defining technology, right? You have access to managers, mentors, coaches. These are different terms. A manager is somebody who manages you, tells you what to do. You have to follow that. A mentor, you can ask for guidance on what to do, and it will basically guide you, he or she. A coach is just there as an experienced person that's just there for you to go to, and he will answer your questions. He will not give you a right-away solution. He wants you to go and find a solution. Okay, he's just there, is gonna basically coach you, is gonna answer your question, so you will get to your solution by yourself. You will have internal corporate training. You have some training portals that your company may give you access to use. You can get professional certificates like, I don't know, like PMP, Project Manager Professional. In Canada, you have like, I think you have PEng, right? If I'm not wrong. You can get those. And sometimes you still in industry, you can join conferences, you can join webinars and get some development from that. All right, if you have passion for innovation, if you have passion for seeing tangible results from your work, if you're passionate to have a product, to see the fruition of your work, the result of your work in the hand of clinicians, that they're using it and it's being used directly to impact patient lives. You have to join the industry because that's where you kind of like manufacture, you create those products. If you're passionate to be a leader or a manager, okay, this is a place to be. Although, as I said, in clinic, sometimes medical physicists can be in managerial positions too. Passion for product development, as I explained. If you want to be involved in cutting edge research, and believe me, when I'm saying cutting edge research, the type of research that's being done in academia, in industry, is sometimes better and more advanced compared to what's going on in academia and what you can find in papers. You cannot find the cutting edge research, cutting edge industry research outside. Why? Because it's intellectual property. I know that when we release a new product, a new feature, sometimes it's so advanced that even the key opinion leaders in the field, they become surprised that, wow, like, are you really, I mean, do you really can, release such a product? Are you getting, that level of technology out? If you want financial rewards, come join industry. Of course, keep in mind the challenges too that we're going to talk about. If you want to collaborate with diverse teams, as I explained earlier, and at last but not least, you can also join industry and later plan to start your own business. What are the challenges? Of course, lower security, lower stability. Something may happen, you don't know, you're completely unaware, and you get an email say that, okay, like within 10 minutes, you're going to lose all your access to your files, your laptop, your phone, whatever. Okay, that's the worst nightmare for everybody in industry, right? Another challenge, having a boss. Okay, this is something that people who are in academia have the luxury of not having a boss. If you hate somebody looking over your shoulders and tell you what to do, use a red flag. Project deadline pressure, of course, for some roles in industry. If you want to balance innovation and practicality, yes, in industry, you will work on cutting edge technology, but it's not just, because I want to try the best and the greatest. No, it has to be practical. It has to make sense from a business perspective, that if it wants to become a product. Competition is out there. Office politics is out there. It's difficult to land a job if you're very interested to join, I don't know, Apple or Google or Netflix or Siemens or whatever. You cannot just simply get into whatever position you want. And also the upward potential that I showed in the earlier slides, it's not that straightforward. It's very slow, and it may not happen. What are the impacts? Well, you can develop products, you can develop services that impact healthcare, impact people's life. You can derive technology. You can basically push the boundaries of cutting edge technology with your new products and solutions. You can influence market trend. You can improve the quality of life of patients, of people. You can help lower costs to patients. You can help lower costs to hospitals and healthcare providers. And you can impact the company's strategy if you're in higher roles. Okay, now let's on to, this was what. Now we got a sense, how are we doing in time? We got a sense of what each of these three roles are. Let's see, what are the criteria that I have to pay attention to basically make a decision for my future career. I'm going to first talk about the 80,000 hours, and then I'm going to talk about the key factors in career decision making. So I have told Arman about this, and he might have sent some of you an email with a link to this playlist. I highly encourage everyone to either get this book and read it, or if not, go to YouTube and look for the playlist of 80,000 hours and watch that. So what this is talking about, it says that all of us have 80,000 hours of work. That's a pretty easy, multiplication. 40 years, each year, almost 2,000 hours of work. Just do the multiplication. Where are we within these 80,000 hours? Okay, based on how many years I've been in my role, I know a lot of those hours already passed. But then, what are the aspects that I have to pay attention to find a fulfilling career that does good? There are research out there. I don't want to take a bunch of time because all this information is provided in those videos. So they see there are researchers out there, publications that they have shown that financial compensation can just get happiness to people to a certain level. After that, that curve plateaus, meaning after a certain level, if you get more and more financially compensated, it's not going to significantly add to your happiness. So, okay, if that's the case, what should be the motivation for me to go and thrive more if happiness is not just money? They show by the researchers, by the different publications that they refer to, that this is going to be one's impact on other people's lives. So the goal for somebody to be fulfilled with his or her life is going to be, if the work that I'm doing, that I'm doing, has some positive impact in other people's life. That's going to be a fulfilling career. Now, how I'm going to do that? I have to take a look at the key factors in career decision making. As we talked about, first and foremost, it's going to be impact. How much positive changes can you create in the world? You have to find high impact areas. You have to, if it's going to be in research and innovation, as we talked about, you have to get involved in community and networking to be able to engage and find that support to provide impactful work. Other aspect is going to be personal fit, that again we talked about. Am I well suited for the role based on my skills and interests? What I have to do, I have to assess my personal strengths. I have to identify my passions. Next is going to be skill utilization. I should choose careers where I can use and develop my skills, right? Pretty straightforward. I have to look for supportive environment. This is very important, okay? If you're looking for a job, either in academia, industry, clinic, look for the environment, look for the culture. This is the place that is going to be your second home. The culture is extremely important. Do your due diligence before joining that organization. Are there growth opportunities? You should look for positions that they offer opportunities for professional growth, for development. And of course, you should have career flexibility. You should stay adaptable and open to new opportunities. This was a short section. Now we're going to quickly move on to how. If I want to get into any of these three, what are the tips? What are the steps that I should follow? I'm going to start with some general preparation tips, and then I'm going to specifically mention some tips for each three of those different groups or different pathways. So while you're in the lab, what you should do, you should first and foremost do a self-assessment. You should reflect on your strengths, on your interests, and your values. You are the best person that knows you and can decide what's best for you. You should do research. Research in what? You should investigate potential career paths And based on what we talked about, their impact and all different 11 aspects that I talked in the first section. Get exposure, get exposed, get involved. How? Especially if you want to join industry, or even if you don't, just try internship. If you're a master's student, specifically if you're a PhD student, please go to an internship. Taste that environment. Okay, you can also do shadowing while you're at the university. You can go and shadow, medical residents. You can go and shadow your university or your hospital's medical physicist. You can do side projects, and you can also ask, some faculty member to join their effort in grant writing if you want to consider staying in academia. And you have to attend conferences. Here's the thing: attend as much as you can. This was kind of like a blessing for me myself. I have to thank Arman for this opportunity, that during my PhD, I had this great opportunity to go to so many different conferences. Each conference, each society is different targets, different, SNMMI is a different meeting than IEEE MIC, which is more technical, compared to RSNA, which is more clinical, compared to AATM, which are more medical physicists, and compared to SIIM, which is more, imaging informatics and so on, and ASNEC, that is like American Society of Nuclear Cardiologists. So each of them are different. Attend as much as you can. What's going to happen? Two things is going to happen. First, you will be able to present your work so others will know you, will recognize you. Second, you will be able to network with both faculty and industry people. When I was in my last year, I told you at the beginning, this was my own personal situation because of the fact that I were in those conferences. Those people, those faculty or people or industry guys, they were seeing me every year. Now that after 3, 4, 5 years, I'm telling that I'm ready to graduate, they know me. They've been following me for the past few years. Now they all come back to me and say, I might have an opening postdoc or faculty or industry position. Don't you want to join? Don't you want to consider? And yeah, so what else? Okay, this is again important. Most of us, when we come out of university, we know nothing beyond MATLAB or Python or whatever else, academic software that we are working with. Grow your technical skill sets. Learn other programming languages, tools, statistical programming languages, R, whatever those are, SPSS, whatever. Not so many industries use MATLAB. It might be surprising for you because you have to pay for it, right? And you have to also grow your non-programming technical skill sets. You have to know how to work with databases, with different data visualization tools, with robotic process automation, and so on and so forth. We are in a field that is a mix of engineering, science, physics, and clinic. So we should also expand our clinical knowledge. As always, look for mentorship. And last but not least, and perhaps more important, find a plan. You should plan ahead. Seek guidance from mentors and professionals in your field when you have 1 to 2 years to graduate. 1 to 2 years before your graduation. Start searching for open positions in your desired category. Either it's clinic, academia, industry. Look for open positions. Okay, you're not going to apply until 2 years from now, no problem. Look in the job posting. See what are the requirements that they're looking for to hire a new, staff engineer, whatever. Okay, now you have 1 or 2 years to work on yourself and gather and, obtain those gather your skill sets and learn them. Otherwise, you're going to be just like many other recent graduates with a typical basic set of skills that would have a hard time to land a decent job position. Now, get a little bit more specific. How to prepare for academia. First and foremost, of course, publication. If you want to become a faculty, publish, especially journal articles. Network with your senior faculty. Find mentors from your senior faculty. It can be from other schools. What they can do for you, it's very important. They can refer you once a position is open. They can be your excellence. They can be your to-go source for recommendations. And this is very, very important. Why? Because you need excellent recommendations. So you have to network to make sure you have people that can write excellent recommendations for you. And you have to network to be able to join other people's grants. You should, while you're in your master, PhD, postdoc, you should experience grant writing. You should try your best to win scholarship and awards, whatever they are, available to you. And sorry to say that, but your grades are important if you want to stay in academia. Okay? Next. Why isn't it coming up? Okay. How to prepare for clinic. Now you are in, most of you guys, similar to me, back in the days, are in an environment that, we're in the university and we have exposure. We can get exposed to a clinic while we're working in a lab. What can I do? I can go do shadowing. I can get some experience with hospital equipment. I can go and see what a hot lab is, the environment of dealing with radioactivity and all that, and radiochemistry. I can get engaged in clinical research. This was my way. I was sitting alongside one of our very great nuclear medicine residents for like 3-4 months and doing research together, going over data of thousands of patients, and I was asking questions after questions after questions, and I learned a lot from him about nuclear cardiology just by sitting right next to him for many hours. And you have the great, I don't know about UVC, but maybe you can attend medical school courses. You can attend I don't know what you call it, the freshman med school courses to learn about biology and physiology and all that, or you can attend resident courses and learn about nuclear medicine. This is the only, or maybe the last chance you have to be in an environment that provides these exposures to you. Once you're out of university, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get these exposures. You should prepare for your board exam. You should network with other medical physicists to get a sense of what's going on in their field. Industry. How to prepare. Internship, as I said. If you're considering industry, definitely plan to go on an internship. You can choose different companies, every summer you can choose different companies. It will open your eyes to that world, and you're gonna basically find yourself some good referrals for later that you want to apply. You should start doing network. You should expand your network by attending conferences, connecting with your lab alumni, people who know. Definitely ask for referrals from your network. Like if you find a desired position at Siemens, okay, you're looking up in Siemens career website, you find a position that's good for you, contact me before applying for that job, so I can go and refer you to that position. I have to do it first before you go and do it yourself. It will, of course, increase your chance of getting in if you're getting referred to a job in industry. This is unlike academia. This is unlike clinic. Take the job postings for requirements, as I said. And another important point that I briefly touched, check the culture of the company. Try talking to existing employees, past employees, to get a sense of, you know, the culture. Do not just throw applications and, you know, see which one is going to be a hit. It's just like working with a bad PhD advisor, working with a sick boss or under a sick culture that's going to drain all your energy. All right, let's summarize a little bit. So I have this summary table. You can, okay, let's go through this. You can join academia, clinic, and industry if it's best for you to join academia if you care about science, if you care about research. It's best to join clinic if you care about direct impact to patient health. It's best to join industry if you care about product development, if you care about management. Your work-life balance in academia is pretty low until you get tenure. Then it's becoming very good, actually. In clinic, as a medical physicist, it's low until you get your board certification. Then it's actually excellent. In industry, your work-life balance is generally good, unless you are, you know, have your, I don't know, project deadline or something. Compensation in academia, comparably to the other two, is relatively low. In clinic is good. You saw the numbers, and in industry is pretty good. The job security, however, you see that for academia, yeah, it's not bad. It's above average. For clinic, is very high, but in industry is low. The dynamism of the environment in academia is a very dynamic, you know, everything, you know, cutting edge research, all that stuff. Clinic, as I said, routine work, less dynamic, and industry, again, very dynamic. How to get into, how hard is it to get into in academia? It's pretty hard until you get your tenure. In clinic, it's hard until you get your board certification. Even after that, as I said, market's becoming a little bit saturated. In industry, it's generally easier. It's not competitive unless if you want to join, you know, a very top company. And then practical steps for your career development. As I said, you have to run the self-assessment. You have to go and ponder yourself. I wanted to introduce this book. I don't know if you can see me. Where's my video? Okay, this was a nice book that we were given in a book reading club at Siemens. The Squidgy Career. This helps you. This has lots of decent tests that you can go through and, you know, run some self-assessment and find, based on what you've done so far in your life, what would be the best track or best course for the future of your career. So the Squidgy Career. Here's it. Okay. This is not an advertisement. Research, as I said, go and talk to different people. Try out. You should be grasping. You should really run to get an internship. You should be able. You should definitely go and try shadowing. You should, you know, find a mentor, and you should also seek guidance from the seniors, from people who you were working a lot with. So with that, I'm gonna basically, that was the end of it, and I'm ready for your questions.